have what we hope is the first annual barbershop parade of quartets for you. I first gave this idea to Sue Turnbull. She thought it was a pretty good idea, and I think you'll like it. And I'll tell you what. We are staring directly at the turn of the century here pretty quickly. But you know, the last time we had that happen, things were a lot different in this country. There was no television, there was no radio, and except for an occasional visit to a theater to see a vaudeville act or something like that, the American people pretty much had to amuse themselves. That's how it happened. So about in the 1890s, people used to hang around barbershops. That's where they lived. And the barber usually had a guitar around, and they learned to harmonize. And all the songwriters of that day wrote most of their music to this type of harmony that we have come to know and love so much and almost saw die. But it's still alive, I guarantee you. In fact, a typical sight on any street corner along Main Street, all over America, you might have found something like this. Oh, honey, bless your heart. You're the honey that I love so well. I've done been true, my gal, to you.
Want to join you?
Play the girl. No, women. When I sang the tenor in that old quartet, back in my everybody here. The young man that was first on the stage is my young boy, Rob Neal. There's upstairs my very good friend and business partner by the name of Jeffrey King Watkins, right? And with you who have good memories and sharp eyes and used to watch the Arthur Godfrey show, you'll recognize Ginny Cole Janis, the tenor of the world-famous Cordettes. I'm very sorry we don't know Mr. Sandman. So we'll try this. B measure. Oh, wait, wait till the sun shines, Nellie, and the clouds go drifting by. We will be happy, Nellie, don't you cry. Down Lover's Lane we'll wander, sweetheart, you and I. Wait till the sun shines, Nellie, by and by. I want a girl just like the girl that married dear old Dad. She was a pearl and the only girl that Daddy ever had. A good old-fashioned girl with heart so true, one who loved nobody else but you. I want a girl just like the girl that married dear old Dad. Put on your old gray bonnet with a blue ribbon on it while I hitch old Alvin to the shade. Through the fields of clover we will ride to Dover on our golden wedding day. On our golden wedding day. By the mill where they made sweet cider, I made sweet love to you. The old mill was turning as I sat there yearning for one kiss, the sweetest I knew. On the hill from the old town chapel, those evening bells will chime. I'll always remember that golden September, sweet cider time when you were mine. My little girl, you know I love you, and I long for you each day. My little girl, I'm dreaming of you, though you're many miles away. I see the lane down in the wildwood, where you promised to be true. My little girl, you know I love you, and I'm coming back to you. On the hill from the old town chapel, those evening bells will ding. I'll always remember that golden September, sweet cider time when you were mine. Sweet cider time when you were mine, you were mine.
This is a quartet, and we sang a few jobs around, nothing big around town. We are known as Achilles and the Three Heels. I'd like to introduce you to our big boy here. This is Bill Sandeman, who for 10 years knocked heads in the National Football League. He was 2 years with the Dallas Cowboys and 6 with the Atlanta Falcons. Big Bill Sandeman. Very good. We'd like to have some fun now, and you recall the crew cuts, the popular group? Okay. Well, we're not very popular, but we're going to sing one of the songs that they did, and it was called Crazy About You Baby. Not too barbershop-y, but who cares, right? It's a pretty cheap show.
Crazy about you, baby, want you all to myself. Crazy about you, baby, no one else in the shelf. Give me all the love and all that you can afford. Let me keep you warm and never to be adored. Crazy about you, baby. Crazy about you, baby. Crazy about you, baby, want you all to myself. Crazy about you, baby, want you all to myself. Crazy about you, baby, no one else on the shelf. Give me all the loving, all that you can afford. Let me keep you always, ever to be adored. Crazy about you, baby. Crazy about you, baby. Crazy about you, baby, want you all to myself. Real purple, Daddy. Baby, want you all to myself. Hey, I gotta say, this stuff, it sounds hard, it's not hard. Anybody can do this stuff. I bet I could just grab anybody out of the audience at any given moment. Probably get up here to that. Hey, wait, hey, come here. Hey. You, waiter, hey. No, double, get up here.
head in the way.
I mentioned earlier that the movement of barbershop harmony had ground to a halt in the 20s with the advent of radio and things. People started to listen to other things, and they kind of forgot how to do it. But in 1938, a guy from Tulsa, Oklahoma, was feeling pretty bad about this, and he ran into a friend of his and decided to think, listen, let's get some of the old guys together and sing a few old songs. And out of that, I won't go into the details, it's an amazing story. It was covered by every major newspaper in America. And the guy got thousands of letters about how did you start this singing club that you did in your hometown of Tulsa. And it blossomed, and thus was born the Society for the Preservation and Encouragement of Barbershop Quartet Singing in America Incorporated, which is now the world's largest music organization, 38,000 members. The girls got into the act in about the mid-40s and formed, I'm sure you know, the Sweet Adelines. And that is an organization that has, I believe, just about the same amount of members, about 38,000. Like the man, every year they have national competition, international competition these days. And there's 600-700 quartets in each society, but only one each year gets to win the gold. They are the winners. And once you're a winner, you never compete again. And that's it. So tonight, from San Diego, I want to introduce you the 1988 International Champion Sweet Adeline Girls Quartet, Kimbo Crystal, Hulbert, Sandy Noble, Connie Noble, and Tippy Sanders. Sammy, here they are. Man.
Love was the thing that you wanted. That's why we answered love's call. Now that you got what you wanted, you don't seem to want it.
Ladies do have a shop. We do, and we love it. We like to brag a little bit that there are 130 more of us just like us at home in the Sweet Adeline chapter, San Diego chapter of Sweet Adeline. Kimberly is the director and Connie is the associate director. So any of y'all ladies that might want to come down and just, hum a little tune with us, please do. We would love to have you. Or if you just want to come and listen to us, because 4 can sing real fine, but 130, honey, you ain't heard
Bum 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 shoo-doo shoo-doo bum bum shoo-doo shoo-doo bum bum shoo-doo shoo-doo bum bum shoo-doo shoo-doo wah.
In the still of the night, I held you. I held you. Your precious love.
Barbershop Quartet, huh? All right. You know, you went too hard to get these folks to come out from Chicago. The next group, the Chicago Natural Gas. There are some people in this room who have lived there at one time or another. Am I correct in that saying that? Ray Henderson, the tenor of this quartet, the Chicago Natural Gas, told me the other day, he says, you wouldn't believe the winter we've had up there. He says, I went to a shopping center, one of the major malls in Chicago, and he said, I saw the darndest thing. He said, I saw an elderly woman out there, and there's ice everywhere. And here's this elderly lady trying to do a good deed. Here's all this ice, and she has all these ashes, and she's throwing them over the ice. I think, gee, that's a wonderful thing. But I worried about her. It's cold, it's slippery. I finally went up there. I said, excuse me, ma'am. Look, I know you're trying to be helpful here, so people won't fall down and stuff. He said, I appreciate that. He says, but you could slip and fall if you break a hip. It's a serious thing for a lady your age. He said, look, the thing to do, you shouldn't be doing this. This is a job for your husband. She says, this is my husband. quartet. The guys in this quartet, maybe they weren't that way when I met them, but as composed, that's what I meant to say, within the same portion. But I've known most of these guys for over 30 years, and I tell you, they're the best entertainers in the whole barbershop quartet society. So now I give you the Chicago Natural Gas. Yeah!
Pull that train up here.
I got the blues for my baby walking by the San Francisco Bay. Ocean liner took her so far away. Didn't mean to treat her so bad. Best gal I ever have had. Said goodbye like you make me cry. I'm gonna lay down and die. Ain't got a nickel and ain't got a lousy dime. She don't come back, believe me, gonna lose my mind. Ever come back to stay, be another brand new day. Walking with my baby down by the San Francisco Bay. Sitting here looking up at that door, wondering which way to go. Oh, that gal I love, she don't love me no more. Think I'm gonna hop me a freight train, 'cause I'm feeling blue. Right all the way till the end of the line, thinking only of you. Little while in another city, just about to go insane. Thought I heard my baby on the way she used to call my name. Never come back to stay, be another brand new day. Walking with my baby down by the San Francisco Bay. I'm walking with my baby down by the San Francisco Bay.
Yeah, I like it here at Pauma. I enjoyed your golf course today. I really did. I played 18 holes today. I gotta tell you about Monty Fricker. Remember Monty? Monty Fricker? No, I've heard of her. Jonathan Winters talks about her a lot. But this one guy went to the golf course. He told the golf pro, he said, "I'm gonna have to quit playing golf." The pro said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I'm 100 years old, 103, and I can't see the ball no more." He said, "Play with Monty Fricker. She got eyes like a hawk." Well, ask her. So he asked Monty. Monty said, "Sure." And the parrot keeps saying, "Come in, come in." He says, "Is that all you can say is come in, you dumb parrot?" And the parrot says, "See ya."
Good old days, good old days. Bring them back once more. Do you remember the things that they did when Little Eddie was only a kid? The flapper hats and derby and spats. Do you remember when? Do you remember the Dixieland Jazz, the Bodioto and Razzmatazz? You broke your back from all of the jack. Do you remember when? Oh, all those good old days ain't here no more. Yes, sir, those good old days knocking on the door with Joe Seppi. Do you remember the camp of the rage? And Bill Jolly was king of the stage. The Bearcat Butt was simply the nut. Do you remember when? Do you remember the movie
place in Alaska, and they had a winter like they have this year, you know. And most of the time when they send a priest up to Alaska, within 2 months, the bishop hears a guy on the phone complaining, he wants to get back, he's cracking up, there's nothing to do up there. But they didn't hear from Father O'Toole, you know, for 6 months. And so the bishop decides to go up there and find out what's going on. He goes up there in the summer, which this year was on a Tuesday, I think. He knocked on the door, and Father O'Toole opened up the door, and he said, "Oh, Bishop," he says, "why do I come up here to Alaska? Come on in." And the bishop says, "I'm just worried about you, Father O'Toole, because, you know, we haven't heard from you, you know, everybody else has been complaining." And Father O'Toole says, "Well, to tell you the truth," he says, "if it wasn't for a martini once in a while and a rosary, I probably would have cracked up months ago. And he instantly, Bishop, you know, it's been a cold trip. Would you care for martini?" He said, "I'd love one." He says, "Rosary, bring the good bishop." The mandolin, the guitar, and the banjo, there's a reason he does it so well. Ken Edson, from 1975 till 1980, was Homer in Homer and Jethro. And we'd like to feature Ken now in a number from Deliverance, the movie Deliverance. It's called, you've heard of Dueling Banjos? Oh, we only have one banjo, so this is going to be Dueling Banjo.
Barbershop, if we could find a word or two, we barbershop a song.
that when you first begin the course of that song, we watch people go, oh yeah. And then we can tell how old you are. And we took names and drew seating, and we're just going to go tell everybody, oh no. Now we want to take you back maybe even a little bit further, and so when you recognize what it is we sing, it's very stiff and very straight, and then we won't know.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got the swing. Do-wah. It don't mean a thing, all you gotta do is sing. Do-wah. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Just give that rhythm everything you got. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got the swing. Do-wah. Sweet, so sweet, music. There's nothing else that makes it too complete. Sing, everybody start to sing, oh, now singing with a swing, everybody start to swing, oh, now singing with a swing, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got the swing. Do-wah. It don't mean a thing, all you gotta do is sing. Do-wah. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Just give that rhythm everything you've got. 'Cause it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. No, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do-wah.
I promised the girls when we got here tonight that I wouldn't whine none to you, but I changed my mind. We had just a traumatic time coming over here tonight. That old long highway. Well, it's actually not very much of a highway, it's only a two-laner type highway. And there was a car driving up ahead of us, and just as we were rounding that big old curve, you know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, I thought you would. The car flipped. And it just rolled and it rolled and it rolled, and fortunately it landed upright, and we got out of our car, of course, and went running over there to see if we could help. And thank goodness somebody was dead or nothing, but every one of them in the car was unconscious. And about the same time that we stopped, the highway patrolman stopped too, and he asked us, do you know what happened here? And we said, because we didn't. And so right about that time, up from the back seat popped this great old big orangutan, and the orangutan goes, and the cop looked at me and said, you know what? It looks like that orangutan understands what I'm saying. And the orangutan goes, and the cop said, right, it won't hurt, let's ask him. So he said, well, what about these two lovely children in the back seat? What happened to them? And the orangutan goes, and the cop says, oh, they was fighting, wasn't it? And the orangutan goes, well, what about the lady in the front seat? And the orangutan goes, the cop says, oh yeah, she was talking too much, wasn't she? And the orangutan goes, well, what about the man? And the orangutan goes, and the cop says, he was a drinking, wasn't he? And the orangutan goes, he says, well, what about you? And the orangutan goes,
R-I-A-N-O-O-O. I love to stop right beside an upright or a high-tone baby grand. I love a piano, I love a piano. I love to hear somebody play. I love a piano, a grand piano. It simply carries me away. So you can keep your feet up, keep your bow, give me a P-I-A-N-O. I love to stop right beside an upright or a high-tone baby grand or a high-tone baby grand.
Girly. St. Peter looks out one morning at the pearly gates and he sees three guys standing out there and he says, well, business, I got to go out and find out. The three guys are lined up and he says, you want in apparently. He says, how did you die? First guy says, I think I had a heart attack. He says, what do you mean you think you had a heart attack? He says, don't you know? He says, well, there's a little story. He says, I live in Manhattan on about the 12th floor. I came home for lunch unexpectedly, never come home for lunch. I walked in the apartment, and there's an ashtray there with a cigar butt in it. It's still, it's hot. I don't smoke. And all of a sudden, I'm looking for my wife, and she's real nervous. I said, all right, now, where is this guy? And I ran all over the place. I couldn't find anybody. I was going crazy. So finally, I went over to the window, and I threw it open, and I looked down there, and I see a guy running out 12 floors down. And I don't know what to do. I'm going crazy. I can't get down there. So I went into the kitchen and I wrestled this refrigerator of ours all the way over and I pushed it like that and I had this tremendous pain in my chest. He says, it's the last thing I remember. I think I had a heart attack. St. Peter said, that's an amazing story. He says, what happened to you? He says, this ties together. He says, I live in that same building and I always come home for lunch. And he says, I was just going back. He says, I walked out, I always catch the bus, and he says, you know how you can always feel something's going to hit you, like a car or something? He says, I looked up, and the last thing I remember, I see this refrigerator. And he says, I guess the refrigerator hit me. He says, I don't know for sure, but that's all I can figure out. St. Peter says, man, I've heard it all. He says, all right, third man. He says, what's your story? And the guy says, well, here I was, sitting in this refrigerator. It's getting late. All right, here we go. Here's our last act. Grand finale, the Chicago Natural Gas. Here we go, boys.
Don't those girls sing wonderful? Saloon, saloon, saloon. Have you been forgotten so Saloon, saloon, saloon. All your lunch counters missing from the corner is vanished like the joys we used to know. Here, over here, that old familiar part. One more drink, boys, just one more before you go. Boy, I can picture swinging doors wide open, and I can almost see the sawdust from the floor. And I dream of friends and cronies, drinking highballs, steins, and ponies. I can see the name of Murphy on the door.
Please don't tell my daddy no more wine, no more wine. Mama don't want him drinking all the time. Please don't tell my daddy no more wine, no more wine. He maybe don't drink, but he's still mine.
Well, late one night at Murphy's friendly bar room, two men were standing drinking all alone. They were thinking of the days when they were young, talking about the women they had known. That there in the dim light of the tavern, a sweet young girl came softly to his side. And to the man's surprise, he looked upon two pretty late eyes, all those sweethearts there to try.
Please don't tell my daddy no more wine, no more wine. Mama don't want him drinking all the time. Please don't tell my daddy no more wine, no more wine. He may be no good, but he's still mine.
My daddy used to buy me pretty dresses. Now it's hand-me-downs and worn-out shoes. If it comes you, I know that I wear these lousy clothes. I swear to God, you smell my daddy boots.
Her father looked down in the glass that he was holding, and a tear trickled down his son's face. But I've been here just too long, now it's time that I was gone, going home to say I'll never see this place.
Please don't tell my daddy no more wine, no more wine. Mama don't want him drinking all the time. Please don't tell my daddy no more wine, no more wine. He may be no good, but he's still mine. But do not tell my daddy no more wine, no more wine. He may be no good, but he's still mine.
Guy's at the airport, and he calls home, and the maid answers. The maid says, hello. He says, hi. He says, I forgot my attaché case. It's in my study. Go in and get it. I'm going to send a taxi over there. Give it to the taxi cab driver. He's going to bring it back to the airport. He says, well, I can't go in your study because your wife's in there with your best friend, and they're hugging and they're kissing. He said, you know where my gun is? He said, sure, I know where your gun is. Well, go get my gun and shoot them both. He said, won't I get in trouble? He says, no, I'm a lawyer. You won't get in trouble. She said, okay. Put the phone down. Pretty soon he hears, comes back, picked up the phone. Well, I shot him. Good, and I'll throw the gun in the pool. Pool? We don't have a pool. 863. And Miss O'Shaughnessy said to Mrs. Fogarty, you know, your husband passed away a few years ago. What did he die from? He said, well, you know, he worked over here at the Coors Brewery. One night he fell into a vat of beer and he drowned. You know, did he drown immediately? She says, no. He got out 3 times to go to the bathroom.
Enjoying the Irish wit and humor of Raymond Henders, our resident leprechaun. We are... We're doing better than we thought, right? We're going to feature the Bruce Springsteen of the Stone Age now in a little solo. Very beautiful solo called Easy Street.
Sit and play the horses, now life is sweet.
here's a little bit of trivia. It's very appealing to us because it concerns the very first singing commercial that was ever heard on the air. It was sung by a barbershop quartet. That's true. The year was 1929, and it was a show called, nobody remembers the show, of course, but it was called Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy. And the product is still very much with us today, and we'd like to sing that commercial exactly the way those guys did it 60 years ago.
Have you tried Wheaties? They're all rich with all of the brand. Won't you try Wheaties? For wheat is the best food of man. They're crispy, they're crunchy the whole year through. Jack Armstrong never tires of them, and neither will you. Just buy Wheaties, the best breakfast food in the land.
There's another commercial that came here, might remember.
Pepsi Cola, it's the spot. 12 whole ounces, that's a lot. Buy some flat for a nickel too. Pepsi Cola is a drink for you. Nickel, 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 nickel. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate Dental Cream, it cleans your breath.
While the toothpaste,
Why clean your teeth? Clean your breath.
while the toothpaste,
When Ray's in town, he's the coolest, coolest cat around.
Well, the chicks all seem to dig his jive.
Now tell us, Ray, how can we arrive?
It's easy, guys. Any gal that says when you flash your smile, I'm Pepsodent.
You wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent. Pepsodent, Pepsodent.
How many of you remember a little girl about 5 foot tall, South America? She wore duty-free hats, high heels, hung up bananas. Remember Carmen Miranda? I don't remember. I should keep the banana inside the one we say. Banana that rises in the country land. But I was never holding you banana. That's not a daddy. That's for you. You can put them in a pie. You can put them in a pie. Any way you want to eat them. It's impossible to beat them. Bananas that were ripening in a very, very tropical window. So never, never ship banana in the refrigerator. Wild root free oil garden. You know it keeps your hair in trim. See it? Non-alcoholic Charlie. It's made with Susan Lanolin. You better get wild root cream oil Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that
You will have a tough time, Charlie. Keeping all those gals away.
Hiya, Baldy.
Right away.
Anybody remember black and white television? No. Howdy Doody, Uncle Milky. If you do, you may remember the 3 funny guys that sang this little song.
Let's snap, rap, pop,
Makes the world go round.
what a happy sound. Snap is the happiest sound I know. Snap, 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 crackle, pop,
Makes the world go round.
Crackle the crispy sound. You gotta have crackle or the clock's not around. Loose scaffold, vegetable, double buckle, blue
snap, crackle, pop,
Makes the world go round.
With that pop sound, the best is Mr. Let's Pop around. You can't stop popping when the cereal's popping.
snap, crackle, pop,
Makes the world go round.
well, what a happy sound. The best is the happiest pop around. You can't stop popping when the cereal's popping. Snap, crackle, pop,
Makes the world go round.
snap, crackle, pop,
Rice Krispies. K-double-L-O, double good, good. Kellogg's best to you.
Oh, you're a good group. I gotta tell you about old Tool is going to the doctor for a physical examination. After the doctor checks him over, he says, Pat, you know, for a man of 60, you're in great shape. He said, I say I was 60 years old. He said, I'm 84 years old, never been sick a day in my life. He's outstanding. He said, what about your father? Before he passed away, was he a healthy guy? He said, I say my father passed away. My father's 104 years old, still works every day of the week. It's unbelievable. What about your grandfather? Before he passed away, was he a healthy guy? Did I say my grandfather passed away? My grandfather's 124 years old. In fact, he's getting married Wednesday. Why would a guy of 124 years old want to get married? Did I say he wanted to get married? Lies. You know, it's the kind of lies you hear almost every day. Not the big mean lies. I mean, little dinky ones. You know, like the IRS is here to help you. See if you remember any of these. Lies, 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 lies. We'll send someone right out. Now this won't hide a bit.
He's in a meeting now.
The coach is a perfect fit.
I've only had 2 beers. Service with a smile. You're looking great.
I'm 38.
We'll keep your name on file.
Lies that make me happy, lies that make me blue. Lie to me the day that you promised you'd be true. Lies that broke my heart and things, I believe them too. But the meanest lie that you told me was I love you. Lies, 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 lies.
We must have lunch real soon.
Boss, I've got the flu.
I never watch TV.
How would I lie to you? It must 30 pounds, I swear. This is our final sale.
Well, pleased to meet you.
Thanks a lot. Your check is in the mail.
Lies that smell so sweetly, lies that simply smell. I've heard some lies that figured me was blush to tell.
Pretty good, Johnny, but that ain't the way I hear it.
Lies that aggravate me, lies that bore me too. But to tell the truth, if I thought you'd believe me, I lied to you. Lies, 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 lies.
You may have won a prize. Won't wrinkle, shrink, or peel.
Your secret stays with me.
This is a real good deal.
It's finger licking good. I promise I won't look.
There it there.
I'll be right there. I am not a crook.
Walk on with hope in your heart, and you're in for a big surprise.
With those lies,
Lies, lies, tell me no
So this young lad was pulling his wagon by the church one day. About 8-year-old boy, and when he did the right front wheel of the wagon, hits a crack in the sidewalk, and it comes off, rolls wild on the sidewalk, and flops into the gutter. The kid looks over and says, well, I'll be damned. There was a clergyman over there. So is that any kind of language for a young man like you to be using? You'd be better off if you would say, praise the Lord, when adversity happens. He said, I will from now on, Father. 2 weeks later, walking by the same church, pulling the same wagon, the wheel hits the same crack in the sidewalk. Comes off, rolls wild on the sidewalk, into the gutter. The lad looks there, sees the clergyman over there, and says, praise the Lord. With that, the wheel jumps back up the curb, rolls back, and pops in a wagon. The priest looks over and says, well, I'll be damned. Coming in tonight, some guys coming out of the fire here and saying, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. I said, what do you mean Happy New Year? This is February. He says, my gosh, I better get home. He said, will you lend me $10? I haven't had anything to eat in 3 days. said, how do I know if I give you $10 you won't spend it on booze? He says, oh no, he says, I got drinking money. Hey, I've got a wonderful audience. I'm going to ask for your help now. The last song I'm going to do, we need your help. When we point you in the song, we want everybody to yell one word, and that word is where. We're going to have a little rehearsal now. On the count of 3, everybody yell where. All right?
Where?
1, 2, 3, where? For a first take, that was marvelous. Try one more time. 1, 2, 3, where? Right. The people in the cheap seats are yelling too, aren't they? Okay, this should be a take. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, where? Out behind the bar, boys, out behind the bar. I got my education out behind the bar. Bar-room, 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 bar-room. Well, the things we did when I was a kid were make some people proud. Take and give for folks that live 20 miles from town. At the tender age of 3 and a half, my father took me aside. He gave me my first lick, and yeah, he really can fly high. Where? Out behind the bar, boys, out behind the bar. I got my education out behind the bar. Bar-room, 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 bar-room. And later on, when I was 6, my mom was most concerned. I said hello to the preacher with those brand new words I learned. I worked in that kid. Well, I learned golly gosh, and hecky darn, not bad either, and some of us.
And when I burned my fingers on that homemade cigarette, I blamed it on the matches and the bigger boys I met.
Out behind the bar, boys, out behind the bar. I got my education out behind the bar.
Well, you don't remember Sally, she was a little mess. I held her and she didn't cry, and I stole a little kiss.
Is that all, Ray?
Where? Well, we didn't have any money. I kissed her once, I kissed her twice, she said she didn't care. And I kissed her up way long, and I kissed her you know where.
I got my education out behind the bar.
Well, now, I've done lots of traveling, folks. I do it up in style. Saw moonlight on Ganges, sunset on the Nile, the pyramids, Taj Mahal, the Himalayas, too. Oh, but I want to go back to just one place before my life is through.
Behind the bar, boys, out behind the bar. Dig a hole and bury me. Out behind the bar.
Okay, hey, listen, this has been it. I hope we can do this again next year. Will that be okay with you? We're going to close off with our society's theme song that was written some years ago, and it delivers a pretty good message. I don't think you've probably ever heard this song. It's not a popular song, but it means a lot to us, and it tells the whole story of these many years and these wonderful barbershoppers we've known. And Bitsy, will you get up here and sing, and your mother? Here's another international champion here, Bitsy's mom, Madonna Bell, that's Chicago, 1950. Come on. Got it?
Keep America singing all day long.
little break here. I thought I'd bring up something that has always amazed me. You know, we all have post office boxes here, no mail delivery. And I see people every day up there, and they all do the same thing. There's a big trash barrel, right? And what goes in it, right? Valley shopping. You shouldn't throw this away. How many people really read this? Now, for instance, this last issue. Did you ever read the classified answer? I want to read. Another one is, I see there for sale is a complete set of encyclopedia never used. Wife knows everything. Also under the for sale category, power table saw. 5 for party named Murphy. There's 3 items here. First of all, it says, man for help in kitchen at insane asylum. Serving soup to nuts. At Peg Henry's restaurant. Man to wash dishes and 2 waitresses. The help wanted is engineer to work in nuclear fissional isotope 3-phase. Even though you kind of all